everyone, welcome again to Ask Miss Judes. Thanks for all your comments you've been giving and requests for videos. So today I thought I'm going to talk about a question that more than 3 of my viewers have asked, which has to do with balancing life, family, studies, and work. Now, this is very, 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 very interesting because as women, we usually like to update ourselves. So, the questions have come from women who are parents, who are working, and then taking on further studies. So I thought I'll just share from my experience. I know that in my very first introductory video, I had told you all how I went back for my doctoral studies when my 3 children were 2, 5, and 8. I also had a full-time job managing 4 portfolio responsibilities and taking on a Doctor of Education at the same time. So it was very challenging, but I thought if I shared my experiences, it might help someone who is thinking of doing, or two of the people who've asked are actually doing further studies. One is doing a doctorate, one is going back for a first degree, and the other is doing a master's. So I thought I'll just share my experiences. One way of looking at this is to look at it as a continuum. So you want to look at life as something that runs over time. So I want to segment this into 3. I want to call the first stage planning, I want to call the second stage executing, and the third phase review or reflection. So when you're planning, you need to look at all your options, your finance, your family life, the stage your children are, your job and the requirements of your job. You also want to be sure that your family members buy into your vision. So God has blessed me with a wonderful husband who actually reminded me that if I didn't go for my doctorate at that time, I probably would not be fulfilled because I always wanted a PhD. And this was 18 years after I finished my master's. So I'd really totally just gotten out of this cycle of reading for academic purposes. So the first thing I did in the planning stage was to pray, talked with my husband. I consulted 1 or 2 elderly people who were in academia, and I was encouraged to start. One of them said to me, the best time to do it is now that the children are small. When they're in high school, they're going to need a lot more attention from you. So go ahead. She said, I can't do it now because my children are all grown, but I really want you to do it. And I really respect that woman today for encouraging me. My husband was my champion. So you need to get the buy-in of your family. If you're married, you want your husband to be by your side. If you have children that can understand, it pays to explain to them. You also need to look at your finances. Now, when I shared it with my children, I'm not sure they understood what it meant. At one stage, towards the end of the program, my daughter was 5, and she said to me, Mommy, is tomorrow going to be a weekend for you? I thought, it's a weekend for everybody. I said, yes. And then tomorrow, the next day, Saturday, I got ready and my husband was going to take me to the library. And she looked at me squarely and said, this is why I asked you yesterday if today was going to be a weekend. So I've kind of gone ahead of myself because that's the execution phase. So when you finish planning, you also want to look at your finances. How are you going to fund this? Because it's a huge investment. When you've passed through that and you've agreed to go ahead with the study, you need to find a program that aligns with your area of interest or profession. You need to see how it will be delivered. Some programs are full-time. The one I did required you to be in a full-time job in education. So you can't just do anything that you like. Every assignment, all the readings had to do with how you apply it to education, to higher education at the time. So you want to figure out how it will be delivered. If it's something you have to do online, then you need to determine what hours of the day are you going to give to study. If it requires you to go to class, how does that work with your family life? if it requires your time to attend classes, how does that affect your job? So you're going to just constantly have to think of me as these three people. So what I did, I realized that neither my husband nor my children sent me to have a doctorate. I wanted it. So I decided that I was not going to sacrifice their time. So I went to work, did my job full time, came back home, became mother full time, did the homework with the children. I put them to bed about 8, 9. And then my husband and I will have conversations planned for the day, blah, 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 go to sleep. And at 2 a.m., I would wake up to study from 2 to 5 while everybody was asleep. So that I didn't miss out on being a wife, I didn't miss out on being a mother, and I didn't miss out on being a professional. To be honest with you, it does take its toll, but I survived. Now, if your children are older, you might actually do better because they will understand. So that's the execution. The other thing you want to do is to be sure that your assignments are always on time. Do not wait for last minute. It's a lot wiser to read 1 hour every day than to wait until exams and try to put in 2 days straight. It doesn't work. However, you will find what works for you and you will do it. If you are running late for any reason, do not wait until the last minute to involve your professors and let them know you have a challenge. Adult education is fun because you're mature, your professors respect you, you respect them, so you need to communicate your needs. If you have challenges, let your professors know. The review part is when you now look at what you're doing as you go along. Right? After every semester, review. How have I performed as a student? How have I performed as a professional? How have I performed as a wife or a mother or whatever your definitions are? If you do this constantly, you're going to find that no part of your life will suffer. If you have small children, let me advise you in advance. Anything that could go wrong will. So the children might fall ill when you have an exam or an assignment that is due. All you need to do is respect yourself enough and respect your professors enough to give them notice. Another thing that God used to help me was prayers. In addition to praying, my husband was amazingly supportive. My mother was extremely supportive. I had family members who would come and stay sometimes to take the pressure off the home front so that I could continue to study and work effectively. And by the grace of God, I was given 3 to 7 years to finish, and God helping me, I finished under 5 years. And the reason it's good to involve your students is when my oldest was 12, he was 8 when I started, I got very overwhelmed. I felt overworked. I was exhausted. And he put as a screensaver on the computer in the study, Dr. Judith Oregon. And he said to me, Mommy, anytime you're tired, look at the screensaver and be motivated. At that point, I was really glad that I involved my children because they became co-champions with their dad to spur me on. So if you are that woman who has decided to go and improve yourself, it could be to go back to get a degree, it could be even to get a diploma, it could be to get a master's or a doctorate. I want you to know that it is possible. It is so possible, because if I did it all those many years ago with a lot more restriction than education is today, I can guarantee you that you will do it. With God on your side, with the proper planning, proper execution, and enough time to reflect and evaluate yourself, I know that you will do it. And when you do, remember to let me know. And so, as always, I want you to like, share, and subscribe, and let the requests keep coming in for what you want us to explore together in 2020. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye.
Say something.
Hi, Essie.
Speak loud. Oh.
Hi. Oh, my glasses always does that.
Get contacts.
I'll be shaking inside my eye every day to say I'm wearing glasses and shaking hard to bring it out.